Hello there my fellow gamers and creators. After the all-new MSI Titan 18, the refreshed ROG Scar 18 and the updated Alienware M18 and Predator Helios 18, it is time for us today to check out Razer's largest laptop, the aptly named Blade 18. And while the chassis is still the same as last year, very much like with the smaller 16-inch variant, we got quite a few under the hood improvements alongside a pretty amazing display upgrade. But that said, the Blade might be the most portable 18-incher that you can get right now, but that also means some compromises when it comes to performance. But let's start at the beginning. Our review sample once again comes with pretty much the fastest mobile silicon currently available, and alongside Intel's i9-14900HX, the Nvidia laptop RTX 4090 brings fresh frames to the all-new QHD+ mini-LED backlit display, which refreshes at up to 300 Hz. In addition, we get 32 GB of RAM and a relatively generous 2TB SSD. Razer also offers a 200Hz 4K panel option, but you will miss out on the mini-LED backlight. And while I have not seen the high-res panel myself, our comparison between the Titan and ROG a few weeks back showed that you do not really gain a lot with a 4K panel in an 18-inch form factor. In the design and chassis department, we can keep it short this time around since, well, the Blade 18 is a proper Razer. The matte black chassis looks incredibly clean and subtle. As long as you wipe it regularly, there is no flex at all, and despite its size, the 18-incher manages to feel dense in a way that just oozes quality. The hinges are perfectly adjusted and there's almost no screen wobble, which is actually quite impressive given the large panel. As I have already mentioned, the Blade is one of the most compact notebooks in this still relatively new form factor. Razer also played it smart and actually sells a backpack that can fit the Blade, which is not something you can say about Alienware or MSI, for example. In addition, I was also able to fit it into my personal Peak design, which is my go-to backpack while traveling. And while this may sound like just a small detail, it actually makes a tremendous difference since it makes the Blade a lot more versatile and flexible, since you can take advantage of the much larger screen even while traveling. The port selection is also almost the same as last year. I'm saying almost since the Blade's left side USB-C is actually the first Thunderbolt 5 that is out in the wild. And while you cannot do much with it right now, with double the bandwidth as its predecessor, the updated variant will most likely prove very useful in the future. At CES, for example, they showed off 3 4K monitors running via just one port. And we might also see a new generation of external GPU enclosures or similar use cases. In addition, you get a very fast full-size SD card reader, a USB-A 3.2 Gen 2 and HDMI on the right, and another pair of USB-As and the second USB-C, all in the 3.2 Gen 2 variant, and a 2.5 Gigabit Ethernet port on the left. We also get an upgraded Wi-Fi 7 card with solid if not record-breaking transfer rates, and once again Razer shows their attention to detail with a pretty decent 5-megapixel webcam. Under the hood you get access to a pair of SODIMMs and NVMe slots, which is very much in line with the ROG Scar 18 for example, while the much larger 18-inchers like the Alienware or MSI Titan take advantage of their bigger and thicker chassis by giving you a few more upgrade options. The keyboard is once again a typical Razer implementation with an okay feel and a very clean layout. The question of whether or not an 18-inch notebook should have an unblock will probably break the internet. But please folks, let me know what your take is on that subject. The switches themselves feel alright, even though personally I would wish for a little more travel and a clearer pressure point. The large trackpad offers absolutely nothing to complain about and worked reliably during our testing. Alright folks, let's talk display. And boy, this panel is gorgeous. And very much like ROG with their updated Scar, Razer went the extra mile and implemented it properly, even though there are a few quirks you should be aware of. First off, when it comes to our measurements, the super fast display performs admirably and in line with the competition. Which means very respectable brightness results in SDR and pretty insane numbers in HDR with more than 1200 nits. And typical contrast for the multi-zone backlight. Color gamut coverage is also very good, and since Razer allows you to turn off local dimming, and with the addition of pre-calibrated profiles, this display might be a creator's wet dream turned reality. ASUS was the first to market with introducing this setting, which is really a godsend if you work in a visual profession and doing anything color critical, for example in video or photo editing. And even if you are not, being able to toggle local dimming also means that you do not have to worry about blooming or halos on the desktop, which is probably also why it comes disabled from the factory. So if you want to enjoy the extended contrast and HDR content, for example, be it in games or movies, you just have to remember to turn it on and treat yourself with one of the best mobile display experiences you can get right now. When it comes to the refresh rate, the Blade maxes out with 240Hz when using Optimus. And if you want to take advantage of the advertised 300Hz, you have to set the sleek 18-incher to DGPU mode in the Nvidia settings. In addition to the snappy response times, the panel also supports G-Sync, so even if you are a hardcore gamer, there is really not much more to ask for here. As is common for mini-LEDs, the Razer also uses PWM to regulate brightness, but with a very high frequency, above 26,000 Hz, which should be fine even if you are sensitive towards flickering displays. With all of that out of the way, let us see what the Blade has to offer when it comes to performance. In general, the much smaller chassis, compared to some of the 18-inch behemoths we tested recently, is really asking for some compromises, and it seems like Razer embraced those rather than trying to focus on high Cinebench scores alone. That means the Razer is one of the slowest high-end notebooks in our CPU performance rating, even trailing behind its smaller 16-inch brother slightly. Still, given how close our overall scores really are, I would argue that this will only really matter in very select use cases, and the benefits of Razer's tuning will get a little more apparent when we talk about fan noise in a little bit. System performance is excellent though, and even subjectively the Razer is simply an awesome machine to work with. I edited a couple of our videos on it during my testing, and the combination of the large screen with its toggleable local dimming and Rec 709 display profile made grading our footage a breeze, and with the powerful hardware, editing was incredibly fluid in Resolve 18. In the GPU department, you get pretty much what you would expect from an RTX 4090 in our synthetic 3D Mark rating, while the larger competitors with higher power levels for the CPU can again score a little bit of a lead in our 1080p rating. And even in more recent titles, the Razer will hardly be the fastest notebook you can get right now within this price range and display size. That said, even a slower mobile 4090 still makes for a pretty good gaming experience, and if you keep the form factor in mind, I would say the Blade still behaves pretty respectable. As always, we have recorded some noise samples for you, so you can get a much better impression of what to expect when actually pushing the Razer in its different performance settings and in various scenarios. I would say the relatively slim 18-incher holds up quite well, but please let me know what you think in the comments below. Away from the wall, the Blade disappoints slightly. While these big notebooks are hardly meant to live away from outlets for longer than a few hours, the ROG Score 18 shows that it can indeed be done. And since the Razer is also one of the most portable options in this form factor, we would have loved to see better numbers in this regard. Alright folks, it's about time to wrap it up for today. Again, the 2024 Blade 18 is mostly just a spec refresh without any real-world performance benefits, but offers a tremendously better experience for both gamers and creators thanks to the new display option. While I would go as far as to say that the 300Hz refresh rate is mostly marketing, since you will have a hard time getting there with laptop hardware, unless you really want to sacrifice visual quality, it is one of the best notebook displays on the market right now, and it is well suited for movies and games in all sorts of genres. And with switchable local dimming and great software implementation, it is also a great fit for those being more into content creation than consumption. And this is really where the Blade shines in my opinion. Offering enough mobile computing grunt in a much more portable package than the competition, while still offering the extended screen real estate only 18-inch notebooks can provide. All wrapped in a very premium, sturdy and subtle chassis. But please folks, let me know what you think about the updated Blade 18. And if you want to check out what we had to say about its direct 18-inch competitors, please have a look at those videos as well. That should be all for today. Thanks a ton for watching. Please hit that like and sub button on your way out. My name is Alex. You have been absolutely fantastic and I cannot wait to see you all in the next one. Take care.